Hey, what's going on everybody? J-Mac here. Today's video is going to be on a Carnevil Witch Doctor, mainly for experience runs in a group, but also very good for pushing greater rifts. And the ideal setup in my opinion is the Carnevil Witch Doctor along with the Sun Wukong Monk for the second DPS. This is really because the single target damage is so good on the Carnevil Witch Doctor. You're able to blow up the exploding palms very quickly. And then also the Carnevil Doc has the best single target damage in the game to kill the Rift Guardians very quick. Then a Healer Monk, which is pretty standard for every group at this point. And then the fourth character would be a ZDPS Barbarian to pull stragglers in to maximize your clear and efficiency and give you some more damage mitigation. And the way you're really going to play the build is you're going to pretty much just always make sure you're standing right next to the Monk, so when they drop Inner Sanctuary you're getting that damage mitigation. And as long as you're not getting one shot by things, the Monk should heal you through the majority of damage. So let's get right into the build with the abilities. First up, Poison Dart Splinters. Now you don't want to run Snake to the Face in the group build because it has the potential to screw up the grouping for the Barb and the Monk. They're pulling mobs together, and so you may as well just run the highest damage Poison Dart, which is Splinters. But honestly, your Poison Dart doesn't end up being very much damage. It's really all about your fetishes Poison Darts and then the melee fetishes as well. Acid Cloud, Acid Rain. This is going to be a spammable ability that will proc your 6-piece Zuni Masa and in a very large radius, 24-yard radius. That's why you run that. Soul Harvest, Languish. This gives you intelligence and most importantly gives you a 30% armor increase for 5 seconds after casting it. And you want to make sure that you have this armor up as much as possible to stay alive. Spirit Walk, Jaunt. This will give you movement speed and also get you out of some bad situations, allow you to dodge nasty elite and champion affixes. And you really want to optimize your timing with this when you're moving in between groups of mobs, because honestly the monks and the barbarians can move much quicker through a rift than the Witch Doctor can. We don't have a charge or a dash that we can use constantly, so you got to really make sure you use your Spirit Walk properly so you don't get body blocked. Big Bad Voodoo Slam Dance, 20% attack speed, 30% increased damage, pretty self-explanatory there. With Star Metal Kukri in the cube, we're going to have this all the time. Fetish Army Legion of Daggers for 8 dagger-wielding fetishes. You could also potentially run the Headhunter's rune here, which is a poison rune if you really wanted to. Swampland Attunement. You're going to be, like I said, right in the middle of mobs for the most part, right next to the Healing Monk, which means you're going to get really nice damage mitigation out of this ability. Be very careful about Arcane Beams and things like Orbital and Lightning Storm, Electrified, things like that, because this does not give you resistance to Lightning or Arcane. You really want to try to have 8 to 10 pickup radius as secondaries on your gear to maximize this. In this spot, you can either run Gruesome Feast or Pierce the Veil. Pierce the Veil, I would say, for most pug groups might be the best setup, but if you're killing things fast enough, or you have a Barbarian potentially using some of the Barbarian runes to get more health globes, then Gruesome Feast is the superior option. Either one is fine, though. Fetish Sycophants, you're going to get 15 dagger-wielding fetishes out of this. This is just better in a Carnevil build than running the Belt of Transcendence. The Belt of Transcendence just isn't quite as good as running, say, a Witching Hour, which gives you attack speed and crit damage, and in this build, attack speed is king. Spirit Vessel for a second life. This is very important for XPs, because you're normally running really fast through the rifts, and sometimes there's some error going on. This will bring you back to life, so you're not just dead constantly. This is a pretty glass cannon build overall. Then the fifth passive with the Hellfire Amulet is going to be Confidence Ritual. 25% additional damage to enemies within 20 yards. And for the most part, you're going to be in melee range a lot, again, standing next to the Monk. Next we have the gear, the Dagger of Darts. An ideal roll would be Intelligence, 7% attack speed, 10% weapon damage, and a socket. If you have to choose between 10% weapon damage and 7% attack speed, always go for the 7% attack speed to bump you up to a higher attack speed breakpoint. As far as Zuni pieces go, on the Zuni string, Int, Vit, Crit Chance, Area Damage, and Fetish Army Damage. Now, area damage is actually working almost properly for Carnevil. Certain things still aren't buffing the area damage, but for the most part, it's a very good stat. especially with pets proccing area damage in patch 2.3. For the Zuni boots, int, vit, armor, and movement speed. Pants, intelligence, vitality, poison dart damage in 2 sockets. The chest piece, intelligence, vitality, fetish army damage in 3 sockets. Fetish army damage is even more important to get now that fetish army damage is applying to the fetishes from the passive as well as the fetish army rune itself. As far as the gloves, intelligence, attack speed, crit damage, crit chance. And then we'll go over the cube items in a minute, but the Ring of Royal Grandeur is giving us the 6-piece bonus. Running focus and restraint. An ideal roll for both the focus and restraint is going to be 7% attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, and a socket is what you're really aiming for. I don't have those rolls just yet for mine. Got the Witching Hour with intelligence, attack speed, crit damage, and poison dart damage. The Hellfire Amulet with int, crit damage, crit chance, and a socket. And then the Carnevil with int, vit, crit chance, and a socket. If you're doing XPs, go with the experience gem. If you're doing pushing or you're trying to level up gems, go with a life percentage gem there. And then currently I'm running the Augiled set. On the shoulders, you want int, vitality, area damage, fetish army damage. And then on the bracers, poison damage, intelligence, vitality, and crit chance. You can also go Skeleton King Pauldrons and Lacunis / Steady Strikers if you want to get a higher attack speed breakpoint and give your pets some more damage with the attack speed. In my opinion, for XP runs and group play in general, I prefer the reduction from elites here, especially if you're trying to run 3 offensive gems. If you're running an Esoteric Alteration or the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard, it may be more possible to run the Lacunis Skelly Pauldrons in a group. But if you're trying to run 3 offensive gems, I would go this route. That brings us right into the legendary gems. The 2 that I think you should pretty much always run are Bane of the Trapped. You're going to be in melee range most of the time, proccing it yourself with the second effect, but also the other group members will be proccing it for you as well. And then you've got the Simplicity Strength that gives you a ton of damage to the 5 fetishes shooting poison darts, and then also gives you some life back. And then the 3rd offensive gem I've been running is the Bane of the Stricken to give you even more boss killing potential. But you could also run Esoteric Alteration in that spot instead. I think this is the best defensive gem, although Molten Wildebeest Gizzard does have some nice synergy with the Healing Monk. And then you can also go for the Gogok of Swiftness to hit some higher Carnevil attack speed breakpoints. I will go ahead and link the attack speed breakpoints in the info section of this video. That way you guys have a reference point to see exactly how much attack speed you need to hit the specific breakpoints. As for the Kanai's Cube, in the weapon slot, the Star Metal Kukri, you're going to have permanent Big Bad Voodoo Slam Dance with this. You'll also be able to recast your fetish army at will, and really you're going to be moving around the rifts pretty quickly, and it's important to recast your fetish army every time you set up in a new spot with your ZDPS Monk and Barbarian to deal your damage. And you kind of want to wait until all of the Exploding Palms are applied and then start shooting. Mask of Jerem, 100% more pet damage. Pretty self-explanatory damage buff there. And then the Ring of Royal Grandeur, which gives us our 6-piece Zuni and 3-piece Augilds. Paragon points. Get as much movement speed as you need in core, then go intelligence. Offense-wise, attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, then cooldown reduction. Defense, armor percentage, life percentage, all resist, life regen. And then utility, area damage, life on hit, resource cost reduction, gold find. So there you go, guys. If I had a better Dagger of Darts, I could easily do speed 68 or 69s with this setup. And I think that the Carnevil Dock is the best DPS paired with the Sun Wukong Monk, because you pop the EPs very fast, and it has superior Rift Guardian kill speed to Hoda Barbs. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe as always. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of gameplay, and I'll see you next time.